homemaker, right? So we had to do everything anyway as a single person, and that has been bred into us women. So it's an innate sense of what we have to do. So therefore, we are just independent, strong Black woman, if that's what some people say. But even though that has a negative connotation a lot of times. But because that's instilled in us to take care of ourselves in our home and do the best we can, go to school, make your own money, take care of yourself and your children, then that's where, the lack of respect for some men, or the resentment or that tension in the relationship lies.
So many valid points here. And it was a couple of things I laughed at, because you also went back to a historical sense in terms of Big Mama.
Yeah.
All right. And shout out to my Big Mama. I'm gonna go back farther than that.
Slavery.
We have to. We have to go back to slavery, because the biggest thing about any relationship is what? Trust.
Yes.
Okay. Let's be honest, y'all. Let's be very, very honest. Do we trust each other?
No.
I'll wait.
No, you don't have to wait.
Do we trust each other?
No.
And if we don't trust each other, how far back have we not trusted each other? Probably from slavery days.
From slavery, when you were separated, and then when you were separated from being in the fields and being demeaned, and then you brought back together, and it's, I don't know.
Well, let's look at it this way.
Yeah.
You light skinned, so you live in the house.
And dress cute. I'm sorry. We gotta keep it
like. And I'm a little darker, so
Then
you taupe. Anyway, she's taupe, y'all. Y'all know she's taupe. But regardless, it is a very slippery slope, because we would come home from working whatever in the fields, picking cotton, whatever we was doing, and come home and you just want peace. And granted, you will be loving.
Yes.
We will be so just irate, and we had so many different feelings and emotions, and who knows what else, that in our mind, this is our provision. This is what we're trying to do in terms of, I'm trying to lead. I'm trying to be strong. I'm trying to be powerful. I'm trying to get us to over this hurdle and hump in terms of what our family has already faced and now currently is facing in terms of getting our ass whooped or whatever, having no freedom whatsoever. And I'm trying my best to maintain my composure. And then you and I have a little disagreement.
Right. Then you turn around.
And I turn around, and unfortunately, the abuse happened. Yes. Verbally, whatever way we want to look at abuse, the abuse happens. You've lost trust in me. You could lose trust in me. I'm gonna phrase it. You can lose major trust in me.
Yes.
Okay. Flip side. That disagreement leads to, I'm leaving. I'm walking. I'm going for a walk. And I said, no, I'm going over here. And here's this woman. And now I don't come back until late. When I come back late, then the thoughts of what have I done have happened.
What you probably did.
Which I probably didn't, but probably did. Who knows? But the point I'm trying to make is, do you trust him? Probably not.
Probably not.
So from as far back as who knows when, the trust has already been tested.
Right. And it's broken, and it's just what we feel.
Right.
It's just who we are.
It's who we are. And it's unfortunate that we, as having that trust is already diminished, and that goes for both sides. I don't trust you, you don't trust me, and we're just it's a volleyball match in that regard. And it's unfortunate that we really don't trust each other. So let's just start with that. All right. Okay. All right. Yeah. Okay.
They want to change the angle.
Oh, change it. You want to change it? Change it. Change it. She said they want to change the angle. But something I was reading, and as Ms. Angel returns, let me ask this question. And as y'all are watching, let me ask y'all this question. And you can think about this question as I relay it to you. You got it?
That's it?
Yep.
But it's not, it's just sitting up there.
Okay.
It's okay.
Cool. Why don't you don't bump
Right.
it? Anyone to change anything, I just wanted to show love and support. Cool, appreciate you. Let me ask you this. In what year, okay, and going back to slavery, in terms of the trust being gone, fast forward, now we got freedom, and we're going to do all this, everything else, civil rights movement and everything else. When did kind of the shift of the women being the breadwinner took place? When was that shift? When did that shift happen, you think?
In the 80s.
Think
80s? Financially?
Yeah, like the kind of the
70s, 80s.
Kind of the shift of the woman is actually making as much as, if not more than the man, and she's looked at as the breadwinner. Kind of when did that shift happen, you think?
Definitely in the 80s.
I'm thinking definitely 80s, but I'm definitely say 90s, 2000s.
Oh yeah. I mean, it started in the 80s.
It really started, but
being noticed.
Okay, it started being noticed then. Something I was thinking about, what was going on in the 80s, the crack epidemic, in terms of Black communities in that regard. The drug industry really kicked in and really just, once again, took us, as you mentioned earlier, to jail, took us away from our families. And more importantly, it just caused so much abuse to both sides of the coin that it really demised the trust some more.
In the family union.
And once again, I'm basing a lot of this on trust, because it'll come back full circle later.
Right.
But if I don't trust you, then I don't go with you, right?
Right. If I don't trust you, then I don't expect you to do X, Y, and Z.
Okay.
A, B, and C.
Let me ask you another question. Would you trust me, say if we was together, would you trust me if I was the breadwinner?
At the same time, no. Because when a man is the breadwinner, he's expected to provide and be the say-sower of all things, right? Okay. And the woman, you do what I say, you keep this house clean, you take it, whatever it may be. Okay. And women are more likely to suffer from emotional and physical abuse. Okay. Because of that. Okay. And may even feel like, I'm a slave to the man because he makes the decisions and he makes the money. Okay. Great point. I'm gonna give you a great example of that. Remember a couple years ago when Nick Cannon was on The Breakfast Club? Well, if you watched it, I didn't watch it, but it was one thing I watched from that interview. Mm-hmm. Nick Cannon was on, and they asked, it was about his dating life. Mm-hmm. And one thing he made reference to, and once again, everyone, thank y'all for joining in another episode. So You Think You're Ready for Black Love. Angel and your boy West here. We're talking about if she's the breadwinner, am I the crumb? One thing that was brought up in terms of going to your point, in terms of control, in terms of if he's the breadwinner, in terms of, she looking at him in terms of control and everything else. Nick Cannon made reference, if I'm with you, you ain't got to work. He flat out said that. Right. Like, if I'm with you, you ain't got to worry. You ain't got to worry about it. Right. That led to some women thinking straight ahead, he's controlling. The stereotype, right. The stereotype, the negative stigmatized, the negative component from that was just like, yo, he's controlling. And that's not the case. It's just that I don't know what he does. But it could be, but at the same time, okay. I would think of it as he's very financially successful. Okay. He's able to do that. Okay. He may want his woman to be available and flexible to do and be wherever he is, so she can enjoy the life that he's offering. Okay. Well, that's how I'm gonna look at it. Well, I'm gonna look. All right, that's how you look at it. But I'd look at a lot of things a lot differently than most women.
True. True.
I think I look at things a lot from the male's point of view.
Do you really?
A lot of
you got
things,
a little tomboy in?
Yeah.
Yeah. Well,
it's
but I ain't lesbian. I'm the lesbian one.
He's a lesbian.
I'm definitely the lesbian one. You're gonna learn today. But no, it's interesting you say that because I think about my oldest son. Mm-hmm. She's very similar, very unique, very different as well. I don't know. She's a Gemini. And you Aquarius, I don't know. You Aquarius, right?
Yeah.
But I had to do some numbers, number crunching, and well, research. You know I'm a nerd. But one thing I was looking at in terms of looking at from the male breadwinner point of view, the woman, according to the American Psychology Association, said they had no issue with it in terms of he's outperforming you. Mm-hmm. They had no issue with that. But on the flip side, another study from the National Bureau of Economic Research said it was less satisfying and more divorce came from it in terms of him being the breadwinner. Yeah. And I'm like, what the hell? That's two different sides of the coin. Like you cool with it. You don't mind me outperforming you, but why is it less satisfying? I don't know.
Is it because it could be just less satisfying on their part that they don't have the esteem that they have in accomplishing the things that they want to in life. So they're just not that bothers them that their husband or mate is more accomplished, but just that they haven't fulfilled themselves.
Interesting. I don't know.
I mean,
I'm going back to the trust again. You don't trust me because I make more money, and once again that control factor, like, is it in terms of the stereotype of us being in control and telling you everything, have the dinner ready and do this and do that. The submissive part of it, you're not wanting to submit because of that. You feel less than because of that. I don't know.
I feel like if you don't work and you're at home, the home is your job. Taking care of home is your job. Do you have to cook every day? No. I mean, no, but providing your husband with a hot meal at least 3 times a week, and he out there slaving like a Hebrew slave, or not, whatever he's doing, but he's making the money, to give you maybe a lifestyle that's well enough that you don't have to work. Okay. Does she have to stay at home all the time? Can she go to the club with Cindy and Renee?
Cindy, she gonna work?
I'm
joking. I'm messing with you.
So I mean, Cindy's some black Cindy's. I know.
I bet. Yeah, I know some black Cindy's.
But go play tennis at the club.
Okay.
And have
tennis.
Yeah, I know some black tennis players. The one is named Venus and one is named Serena.
And the new one.
What's her name?
There's
a couple of new ones.
Yeah, there's a couple ones.
But anyway.
But on the flip side of that, she may be looked at as a gold digger. Maybe looked at. I'm not saying I'm just saying that's the stereotype. Like, oh, she only want me for my money.
No,
I'm the one taking care of it.
But he offered that. Now she says, no, I want to work. And he's saying, no, I don't want you to work. That's on him. That's a decision he chose for his wife. Family.
Would she feel like a crumb?
She shouldn't. Now, I'm not saying don't go out and have your own, I'm not going to call them hobbies, but your own activities that you like, that fulfills you or makes you feel like you could volunteer somewhere. She could, whatever it is that keeps her mind going and, herself entertained or feel like she's giving herself a service of being productive in society. She can do that and still not get paid for it, but be, giving of herself and doing something that's regular throughout the day.
Couple comments real quick. What does money have to do with trust? The two are not synonymous. In a marriage, a woman should submit regardless of who makes the most. Like, okay. As a man, you have to be mentally strong to accept your wife who makes more money than you. and you as the man should be treated as the man in the house.
That's right. That's right, Jock.
Take care of home if he's taking care of everything else.
Exactly. But that submissive part.
I mean, that's
people has different ideas of what submissive is.
Yeah, you took the words out of my mouth.
Yeah,
they have so many different ideas. Let me give you another great example in terms of submissive. How some black men, I'm about to go. I'm gonna go black and white real quick.
Okay.
How some black men maybe look at the white man, not really look at him, but they kind of, I don't want to say envious, but how the white women treat the white man in terms of their submission, in terms of their, they get to dominate them and control them, and then on the flip side, if that happens with a black man and black woman, it maybe reinforces this trust. You know what I'm saying? Like I ain't, you ain't gonna control me and dominate me like that. And that's that once again that this mistrust.
But that's that particular idea of what submission is. Right,
and that's once again that's exactly what it is in terms of what's their definition of submission. But for the man, he maybe have this secret idea or secret feeling like I want her to dominate.
Well, then that's when they need a red room.
A
red room.
What's a red room?
A dungeon.
A dungeon. Is this the same woman who said, a little while ago, you ain't getting a dungeon?
No, I'm just saying it's certain. If you want to,
certain whips and chains.
There's different ways of being.
50 Shades over here of light skin.
Of submission, and what your idea of it is, it's just you gotta communicate and figure it out, because submission is it's not control, and it's not just the woman being submissive to the man. He needs to be submissive to her too.
Oh, he definitely needs to be submissive.
Yes.
But can he be? Can he respect himself and look himself in the mirror and say, I can handle this? Let me just go ahead.
Because that's exactly what it is. If she's the breadwinner, he's definitely being submissive.
I mean, let's just be real. Now let's look at it from another point of view. I was looking at from, once again, the male breadwinner, just to kind of set the foundation in that regard. I was looking in terms of the male violent breadwinner as well. Unfortunately, that's real. It's a real reality. And unfortunately, a lot of women from going back to Big Mama days, unfortunately saw their mothers or their previous grandparents or, as X, Y, and Z get unfortunately abused because of this stigma of you can't tell me what to do. I'm the one making the money and everything else. That control factor once again. Mm-hmm. So we've gone historically from that now to the kind of the present in terms of what we was talking about. A man who is starting to feel like the crumb. And that could stem from him not being able to get by in society, him losing his job, as made reference to him just looking at from a social status. And that influence on him has now put him in that bubble to where he feels like he's about to explode or he's going to be abusive towards you verbally, who knows which way. Mm-hmm. And that's where men tend to feel like that crumb. Unfortunately, that happens and it shouldn't. But being now, I don't want to go personal, but I will go personal in terms of this. If I lose my job and say we're together, I lose my job, and I know I'm striving towards, I got to get this job. Mm-hmm. But I don't want to do this job. That's where he has to look in the mirror and say, I can't do this job. I mean, I can't have this ego. I can't live thinking like I'm better than this job. Right. I was guilty of that for a while.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness, I was guilty. I was so guilty. Like, I ain't doing this job. I don't want to do that. I got this degree. I got this. I've done that. I've done this. I'm not going to sit here and be this custodian. I don't want to be no janitor.
It's beneath you.
It's beneath me. It's above me now.
You're above. But no money is still the same.
No, it should not. it was made reference. I think that a man, whether the breadwinner or not, should not have a problem with catering to his woman. I mean, ain't that your receiving gifts your love language? Ain't that every woman's love language? Receiving gifts. But I'm joking with this.
Receiving gifts is something materialistic.
No,
it's not always that.
And when I give options on how to make this work, if she is the breadwinner, you'll hear one of my tips on that too. Yeah, because ain't no point in not making her feel, wanted.
Right. As the bread, though she's the bread.
Even though she's the breadwinner, we still want to make her feel wanted.
Right. He still needs to perform as a husband in the duties that you do for your wife, as she should do the same for her husband. He should still be the man of the house, even though he may not be making as much as she is. Mm-hmm. He should still be uplifted as such, as long as he's not a bum just laying on the couch playing PlayStation and using up the air and drinking up everything.
Drinking up Kool-Aid, red flavor,
and whatever else. Red flavor.
Keep your custodian job until you find something better. I mean, what was funny, and granted, this was like 2013. My youngest son was maybe 2 months from being born when I lost this dope job. Mm-hmm. And I just went, oh my goodness, huh? Right, talk about that. We live right now. But, you know what I'm saying? My name is, anyway. I had to battle myself because, I remember, and one thing, if y'all first time watching the show, one thing I've always said with this podcast, I'm going to be very honest and upfront about some things I've done in my past. I remember one day, I had told my partner at the time I was going to go job searching, right? Because, when you're online doing job search, it's one thing, but when you're actually out and about doing job search, it's another thing. Mm-hmm. So she was like, just go, just get out the house and get some air and go. So I went to City Walk, right? This is when I lived in LA, Hollywood. I went to City Walk. All I did was walking up, down City. And I said, if you've ever been to City Walk, it's a bunch of stores, shops, restaurants, stuff like that. All I was doing was collecting applications, right? So I had like a stack of applications. Ask me how many applications I completed.
Yeah.
Not a motherfucker. Oh my God. And I was like, yeah, I did a bunch. I lied my ass off.
So then does that
trust?
Anyway. The trust, right. Does the guy just want to be play a victim like we were talking about earlier?
And that's exactly what
or just not put forth any effort because she got you.
I think the biggest thing how I felt was as I was walking and looking at the demographics and looking at the stores and the restaurants and trying to picture myself working behind this counter doing whatever duty I was assigned to do, that I could not visualize doing it. Mm-hmm. Hell no, I just got through running this company. I just got through doing this. I'm in books. I ain't going to sit back here and make some French fries. I ain't going to sit here and pick up some garbage. No.
Now, okay,
go ahead. Go ahead.
If you weren't with her, and you were down to the nitty gritty where you needed to pay rent and you just sold everything you could put your hands on, so you done used up all your little savings, would you take that job?
That's what it came down to. Honestly, it came down to, look, your money was running tight. Which was, you came in like you said, you came in help out with the lights.
Right.
Like, what's up? And I had to really look in the mirror and just like, and luckily I was able to get a college position, but it still took a couple more months. And granted, yes, I was receiving unemployment, but I didn't want to go do that. Ego boost. So I had to really check my ego, really check myself in the mirror and stop, and just stop giving excuses, and then I was able to do this college job. Next thing I know, I'm working at Macy's at night. So I was trying to put pieces of the puzzle together. And granted, I would have some of the longest days ever. And it was very tiring, but I was able to keep money in my pocket and check my ego.
Right.
But on the flip side, I will be honest, it brought a lot of other bad habits though. Because now by the time I get home, I just want to drink. I want to chief. I didn't want to do nothing. And it brought me to be less of a mate with my partner because I didn't want to do that. I didn't want to talk. I'm tired. But that was guilty of me because she's tired. She's working hard. And she's, doing, let's just be honest. Women still make 80% of the dollar. Regardless of however we look at it in terms of her being the breadwinner, women still make 80% of the dollar. So technically, we still are not making a lot of money, not in the grand scheme of things, because we're still short. So, making that little 20% can equal that dollar in terms of whatever little small amount I can bring to the table. So it was hard.
But everybody doesn't have that idea in their head.
They don't. No. They really don't. What we got? A person has, you drop fries, so you she said you drop fries, so you're not without. Yes, and damn it, it was almost an In-N-Out burger. In-N-Out burger paid like $15. And they give you insurance.
But it's in California.
But it's in Cali. A person has to do what a person has to do.
Should I go to In-N-Out burger if it was here for $15?
Shit.
Don't give me a job.
You know what's funny? You said it when I first moved to Atlanta, the cookout. So it's a cookout right on Northside Drive, right? The owner or the franchise owner of that particular location, I had to talk, and he said, "Man, bro, they take care of me." He said, "Bro, I came in, I started at like $8, $9, and months later I was up to 15. I'm an assistant manager, now manager, making 15, and now I'm about to be this. I'm about to make 30. The dude said he was making about 80 a year. And I was just like, the cookout.
Yeah,
but once again,
it's a lot of work.
It's a lot of work. Yes, and he did make reference, though, he was able to, but one thing he said, he was able to take care of his family.
That's the main thing. And
you can tell in terms of his spirit, I'm big on energy, but his spirit really said, like, look, I'm doing this for my family. That's all I care about. And my wife. And I'm still able to take care of my wife and do this and do that. We're good. I'm just like, kudos. I don't know. Something I wrote. They said, if a negative connotation in terms of, I don't want to bring this up. I'm gonna bring this up, but think about some of the relationships in Tyler Perry movies.
Yeah. Diary of a Mad Black Woman.
Why? Because the connotation. Why? That's what I'm asking more. So why did they look at Tyler Perry movies like negative in terms of Black relationships as such?
Because in most of them, it shows actually in all of them that I've seen, it shows the bad husband, the horrible relationship, the mental or physical abuse, the breakup, and then finding the love. You know what I mean? Of the guy who was maybe always there and always admired her from afar because she was a great woman, and he appreciated her and wanted to be her partner, but she had to live through, go through, work through the ridiculousness, the untrustworthiness,
or her feeling like a crumb.
The crumb.
Well, the great. Let's think about Idris Elba character, and what was it?
Days of Girl.
Yeah, he felt like the crumb because he was being talked about, being degraded, and all he was trying to do was be the best father for his daughters. And then he met someone that really got his interest, but she made him feel as such.
Yes, she did.
And one thing that you can't do, if you're going to try, let's just put everything on the table. I meet you, I'm an educator. So, there's certain levels of education I can make some great money. But I'm going to be real. Going into 2020, personally speaking, if I meet a woman, she probably make more money than me right now. I'm gonna just be real. At this day and moment, tomorrow I can wake up, I might get blessed with a new contract. I might be making more. But the point is, at this stage, unfortunately, with the stuff I put myself through personally.
And here in Atlanta.
Yeah, here in Atlanta, no comment. But the stuff I put myself through, I'm restarting life financially.
Right.
You know, I had to move here for my son and take care of everything else. So financially, I'm not where I want to be right now. Mm-hmm. So there's been women I've met, they've had interest in me. But unfortunately, they looked at me financially and was like, I don't want to deal with this. That's fine.
But is it because they wanted to be taken care of? Or
Some did. Some did. Some did. I can't worry about that. All I can do is continue to work on me, be the best man I could possibly be, and continue to work hard towards my goals and everything else. But I can't worry about that. Mm-hmm. If it's based upon financial in that regard, I get it. But my thing is, if we setting up some goals, how we can make this work. Say, for example, let's focus on one goal. Or I can focus on the goal. We're together, we're talking and everything else. Let's focus on the goal. Maybe I can focus on, I don't know what time, a small goal. Maybe I want to remodel one part of the room or one part of the house. Mm-hmm. Or I want to plan a trip for us and I focus on that goal. Right. You know what I'm saying? Or I do something for, if we got children, I can focus on something towards that goal with the kids. Mm-hmm. You know, that's one way to go about possibly making it work in that regard.
Right. Yeah. And not to take away from you, I had a client actually that we spoke about this, and her husband is the breadwinner. Mm-hmm. She works. Mm-hmm. She doesn't have to. He doesn't want her to.
Oh, really?
Right. She didn't have to.
Okay.
It's not that she didn't. You know, she has the option, but you know, she wants to do and do what she wants to do as far as feeling fulfilled in life. Mm-hmm. So she has a job, but she said he takes care of everything. Her money goes toward what she wants, mm-hmm. and anything that needs to be picked up with any slack, you know. So mm-hmm. that's what her money goes towards. But she pays for the trips.
Oh, okay.
She pays for entertainment. Mm-hmm. She pays for that type of stuff, other than what he may initially do. So that works for them, and that mm-hmm. sounds like what you were just talking about.
Right.
But the role being reversed.
Contribute in other ways. Basically, kind of what you just said, she picked up the slack. Maybe he picked up the slack in that regard. You know what I'm saying? Maybe she is covering all the bills in that regard. All right, well, I'll cover the groceries, and I'll cover the child care, or I'll cover making sure the gas is always in your car and everything else. Mm-hmm. Even if it's, okay, maybe he's not filling it up. Okay, every time you get half full, let me know. I'm able to cover at least from half full on. You know what I'm saying? That way you stay full. Right. You know what I'm saying? You gotta look at it. You gotta improvise.
That's good for your car.
That's good for your car. Right. It should be good for your car. He's helping pick up the children in that regard. You know, mm-hmm. My friends never understood why I continue to stay in the military for 35 plus years. We got a good one. I don't always enjoy the things I had to do, especially in combat. It has given me the resources to live comfortably, like comfortable life after retirement. Though you have to have goals. Mine was retired before 55, and my wife would respect that goal, knowing our life would change somewhat. And she has about 50 more years to work, but I cover our insurance and still pay my half on all our bills. Mm-hmm. I get that. It's not about the big who. It's really not about who makes the bigger paycheck.
It's not. It's about the communication and the contribution you put into your relationship.
It really is.
Yeah.
I mean, another key component is seeking professional help. Mm-hmm. In terms of, okay, we know we won't really make this relationship work. Let's go see a financial advisor. Mm-hmm. You know, and put our egos to the side and really strategize this. And let's build with this emergency planner. Let's build a emergency fund. However way we can go about creating an emergency fund.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? I mean, being from Cali, you got to think like that. Earthquakes. I would think people in Florida, they would have to think like that. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? I would think people from Cincinnati, you know, they would have to think like that. What?
Yeah. In case the Bengals win. The mayhem in the city.
No comment. But sometimes these financial planners are looked at as other marriage counselors. And they be honest, because if they're gonna sit there and assist you, you have to include them in your life as a marriage counselor. Mm-hmm. You know, like you guys should worked. I mean, maybe they set aside this disability insurance or something to that nature. I don't know, man. You got to utilize your resources if you really want to make this work. And fellas have to really understand, like, look, they have to be honest with themselves.
Yeah, that's what they got to be honest with themselves.
Or, as I said, you got to get over it. Or you have to get over it.
Either way.
Both of us have to get over it. Yeah. If this is the reality, we got to get over it.
Yeah. Because a lot of the stuff, I don't understand why it's just not common sense. But again,
common sense ain't common no more.
It's not common. You talking about the Bengals?
They suck, right? Common sense is not common.
I mean, if you have the better healthcare plan through your job than I do,
that just makes common sense.
It's common sense,
right?
If I'm able to pick up the kids, if my schedule is more flexible, why am I even bothering you with that? You know what I mean? Unless it's something else I had to do, but I don't understand how a lot of the things just aren't logical things to do. Like, just logical thinking. Yes, that's your share. This is my share. The communication is just open, and this is what we do.
You said communication. I think that's probably the most vital of my kind of how to go about making it work.
Yeah.
You have to talk.
You
have to talk. And talking about money can sometimes be the most delicate conversation you could ever have with your partner.
Yeah.
Period. It can lead to a fight. It can lead to a divorce. It can lead to a breakup. It can lead to so many negative things. So knowing it could be negative, how you go about making it a positive conversation.
Right.
You got to be able to accept it and communicate. Period.
And let's let go of that ego. And, some people just have